All right, so this is Matt talking about the clustering support in the Calm 2012 beta, and I have a picture of what a cluster deployment would look like in terms of virtual machines and the different WAS pieces. So I'm just going to go through it from left to right. In VM2, it's acting as a load balancer, so it's the first machine to receive a request from a client. And along with the proxy server, it's also acting as a deployment manager, which just is a WAS terminology for the machine that manages all the machines in the cluster. After the proxy server receives a request, it's going to get passed to one of the two nodes or three nodes in your cluster, depending on how many you have. And each of those nodes is a clone of each other. So it's going to have, in the Calm scenario, it's going to have all of CCM, RM, QM, all the applications that would normally be deployed on a machine. And each of the Calm cluster nodes is going to have the same set of configuration files, the same set of applications. And each of the Calm cluster nodes is going to be attached to the same database, so that no matter which node receives the request, it's going to get the same data from the database. I'm going to switch to the WAS console to show what it looks like in WAS with the same deployment. So to get to this page, what I've done is I've gone down to System Administration, and I've clicked on Cell. I clicked on Local Topology, and then expand the tabs down to the node section, and you can see the same set of nodes that were in our original picture. We have a deployment manager, we have a proxy server, and we have two application nodes. Now the database node isn't on here because Websphere doesn't manage the database node, but you could imagine an extra node here for the database. Now let's switch to the drill into the application servers a bit by clicking on this Websphere Application Server section. And you can see the two application servers are listed here. They're both listed as part of the same cluster, a Calm cluster in my case. And the status right here is green for both of them, which just means that both of the nodes are running. The two servers listed here are both part of the same cluster. And in WAS, that means that they have the same set of applications and that their configuration files are mirrors of each other. So a request could be processed by either node, and the same effect would be shown to the end user. So now that we have seen what it looks like in WAS, let's switch over to the Jazz application and see what it looks like in the web UI.
Thanks, Matt. So my name is Jason Wagner, and I work on the web UI for the Jazz Foundation server. And I'm going to take you through some of the improvements that we made for the status summary page and some of the other pages in the UI here to showcase clustering. So the first thing that you'll notice is there's a new section over here on the right called Cluster Status. And this gives you kind of a quick overview of your cluster. Provides the number of active services running on the whole cluster as well as the number of cluster nodes. Once you click on this link, you can jump into the cluster nodes page. Now this page shows kind of a dashboard of information about your cluster. So as you can see here, we have two nodes. You can see the IP address, you can see uptime, memory usage, and two of the other things that are particular to the Jazz Team server are the number of active services that you can see here, as well as the diagnostics. So if we click on the active services, we can drill into the active services for that specific node. So let's do that. And now you can see that we have one active service running on this node, and the UI updates to tell you that this is the node that you're currently seeing. And if you want to, you can click to show all active services on all of the cluster nodes. So let's do that. So as you can see, there's two services here. Now if we were to go into the diagnostics and let's say run one of our long-running diagnostic tests, if we go back to the active services, we should see additional services there. So you'll notice that we also support sorting of these columns, which is new for this release and provides a little bit better information if you have a long list of active services. So now if we go back to the cluster nodes page, I also mentioned earlier that there's a link to show you the diagnostics for that node. Now this shows you the specific diagnostics for the node you're looking at. So each of these nodes has a warning. So if we click on that warning, we're taken to the diagnostics page. So as you see here, it's saying that the diagnostics are showing up for all the nodes in the cluster. And because we clicked on a specific node, we were able to highlight the warnings for that node. So as you can see, the JVM warning is highlighted. And if you actually notice, you'll see that the node IDs are specified, and this warning occurs on both nodes. So we can see that here denoted at the bottom. So that pretty much sums up the main changes that we made to the admin UI for clustering. And that concludes our demo.